Alrighty, we're live. So, good morning, everyone. Today is May 14th. This is one of our only of two day meetings, so we can do our road trip. So, May 14th, 9 a.m. work session. Please join me in standing for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Alrighty. Doesn't look like we have anybody for the blessing today, so I'm going to jump right into public comments. Is there anybody in the audience that would like to speak? Seeing nobody, we're going to keep moving then. We're going to start off with Allie. Good morning, Allie. How are you doing today?
Good morning. Not super well, but I hope everyone else is doing okay.
We're going to try to stay as positive as we can, Allie. Okay?
I'm going to try to stay positive. I have to deliver some difficult news this morning about the Division of Waste Management state grants. So I'm going to pass around the sheet I received this week about grant awards. Okay, so what I have here is the grant awards I received this week from the Division of Waste Management. So they just announced, when I asked for clarification on the lack of funding, they said they did not approve any requests for advertising for composting, recycling, or hazardous waste for any group this year. And so, just for context, last year we got a total of, I asked for funding for $230, and we got $292,000, 230 funded, so we got about everything we asked for. This year my funding request was a total of $182,808,000, and we got $66,488 approved. So this is a drastic shift in what we've historically received. And we can just review that. So the first page that I gave you was the compost grant. So I requested a track loader, like a skid steer. For the compost pad, we did not receive that. I requested a compost thermometer that will monitor temperatures in real time. We did get that approved. No funds for plant board ads, state journal ads were approved for compost. I used those to advertise when Yard Waste Wednesday starts, selling compost, all that information. We did get funding for backyard compost supplies, so the program where I teach a class and people get a compost tumbler, that is funded again. But the vermicomposting worm bins in the schools did not get approved. And luckily the annual chipper for yard waste did get approved for $11,000, so our total award for composting was $36,000, $750. So that was a cut of $87,000, $360. For the aluminum or the recycling grant, we can pause there.
Yeah, go ahead. You can ask a question.
Thank you, Judge. Thanks for being with us.
Yeah, for sure.
Did they give us any feedback in regard to two things? One, about the skid steer. Did they give us any feedback about why they chose not to approve that? Because in the past, we've been able to not only to utilize, but to demonstrate the consistent use of these large pieces of equipment that we're using every day. And right now, we're using them every workday they're being used. Did they give us any feedback about that as the first question?
No. The only feedback I've gotten is that they had a massive influx in applications. So counties apply for funds, but also universities can apply, just any other group. And so they have a board where they vote on it, and it seems like it was almost a blanket let's give people a couple things that they deem essential. I don't have feedback on the track loader, but from the grant administrator, they said, this is just for the recycling grant. The applications totaled 13 million. We had 6 million to work with. Cuts had to come from somewhere, so the committee made the decision not to award any advertising for this grant cycle. Keep in mind, these grants are to assist programs, not fully fund them. The advertising cost can be applied toward the 25% match. So that was the feedback I got in regards to why did we not get any advertising. But I can ask as well about the equipment. But yeah, last year we got a massive award with the grapple truck.
We did.
So I was very surprised for the results this year.
When we put applications through, my presumption is that working with our grants administrator, we have a considerable amount of data. You have a lot of data to demonstrate the utilization of this in Franklin County, of this entire program across the county. How many, hours are on machines, how many man hours go into those things. I realize the scale of return here. If they had twice as much, more than twice as much ask as they had money, they have to cut that from somewhere. So what will be the impact, I guess, on our program? Because we didn't receive this large piece of equipment that is vitally needed.
I would say the biggest impact is the advertising, honestly, and especially with recycling. So my application, and you guys had it in a previous packet, I wrote all about the need for addressing misconceptions with the city versus county limits, and just no one got any advertising approved. So to me, that's the biggest impact for the program, is getting the word out there about Yard Waste Wednesday drop-off. We have our demographic here. A lot of people still read the paper, still watch cable. And so not receiving funding to reach a massive part of our population, I think that's the biggest impact.
To your point, on Saturday, I was even asked at Lakeview Park why we had stopped recycling.
So now's a good opportunity to say that county has never stopped recycling.
Yes.
And that was the words I said.
City's trying to work their things out, but also we still have 2 mobile carts that can be used by anybody. And I think a lot of people don't understand that city residents are more than welcome to use the 2 carts, one that's at the Sheriff's Department on the west side and one that's out Lakeview Park on the east side, correct?
Yep,
Okay,
correct.
just another opportunity to get it out there. I
Yep.
know our papers, Mr. Phil's writing a good article right there, I could see, so he's writing that down.
Yep.
Exclamation point, I just saw. That was good. Squire Tanner,
That's only good.
your microphone, please.
Okay. That's only good for paper, isn't it? Or can you put aluminum cans or anything in it?
So originally, one of the trailers was purchased when the city stopped collecting paper, but now they both can take anything that's curbside recyclable, Sheriff's Office and Lakeview. It all goes to the city of Lexington, and when trucks offload in Lexington, it's just a massive pile of mixed recycling, and they sort it there. So it's not just paper. No. And we have a sign on there now that says that it can take anything.
So Ally, you came before us pretty much as an informational purpose today,
Yes.
just to let the court know that you've taken a big hit in your budget because we didn't get these grants, mostly for advertising. Okay.
Yes. Let's look at, I guess, the recycling grant briefly. We got approval we're doing the recycling drive again. We have those pop-up bins. That first line item is for the clear bags that we use to collect the cans in, so that schools can get the bags again. There's a recycling box for thin plastics that we got, but we did not get approval for Frankfurt Plant Board ads, State Journal ads. I just sent it out, so a lot of county residents should have gotten a postcard that says what's recyclable. We did not get approval for that. I requested a billboard. We did not get approval for that. I requested decals to go on recycling cans about what's recyclable. Fridge magnets, that did not get approved. Luckily, our Frank Waste app contract funding did get approved, so we have the app. And then I also requested for a recycling education contamination team to go audit recycling bins and tag them. as correct or not. A lot of municipalities have done a pilot program like that with a lot of success. So I was trying to do that as well. So that's the outcome from the recycling grant. Hazardous waste, we're getting funding for a collection event, $19,000, $19,500, but no advertising funding for hazardous waste either. And my immediate thought when I received this was they must not have allocated as many funds, but for the 2024-2025 grant cycle, there was $6.5 million awarded to local governments and universities, and this cycle, there's $9 million. So there's an increase in the amount from the state that was provided. But my guess is with some federal programs being cut, there's been a lot more reliance on state programming. So do you guys, let me know if you guys have any other questions.
And I will say, we've been very fortunate over the last couple of years, as much as you've gotten, between that, the wheel machine and the composter and the bagger. I mean, we've been very fortunate. So I guess, like you said, because of the federal things going on, people are really leaning on the state government as much as they can. So I'd say they probably got a lot of things. So I guess it's the year to think outside the box. We all need to work together and try to figure out what we need to do, and maybe talk to our hauler too, see if there's any opportunities for them to, partner up with us on any of these things, especially that might be able to be of interest to them. So any other questions for Ally before we move on?
Yep, I agree. We're just gonna have to get creative, for sure. Yep. Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Alrighty, next, I believe we have Jeff Hancock. How you doing, sir?
I'm doing very well. How are you guys?
We're doing well, thank you.
First and foremost, a statement of fact. I'm here on behalf of Affordable Housing Frankfurt LLC. I'm not here on behalf of any government entity or anything else. I'm here representing our LLC.
Private citizen today.
The LLC is made up of 3 partners, myself, Keith Lee, and John McConnell. Soon to all be Frankfurt residents. 2 of us have been here for 5 generations, and 1 is moving here as we speak. So today I want to talk about an affordable housing project that we started back. To give you a timeline, we started working on this last September. This is not a new project. This is nothing, and I feel like maybe there was some lack of knowledge on your all's part of the project in itself. I did hand out a full pamphlet on what our proposal base is. To give you a little background, this is 6.9 acres on Home Street. Most people knew it as Leathers Field. Some of us in the room even played baseball on that field. This is a surplus piece of property that was owned by the Frankfurt High School District. It's a piece of property that sits directly on the spot of the comprehensive plan for Frankfurt and Franklin County for affordable housing. This spot was designed not only by the comprehensive plan, but in theory to be exactly what we're proposing. What we're proposing is between 88 and 110 units that meet all federal standards. Federal standards mean federal guidelines for housing, development, and rent absorption. Right now in Franklin County, your own housing study shows that we're 324 units behind currently. This project will take away 1/3 of the need of housing in an affordable manner without changing the dynamics of the neighborhood that it's going in, without changing the dynamics of, if you don't do federal housing there, you're going to change the dynamics. You're going to up because in private industry, you just can't afford to build these projects without making the rent go to the current rental standard. Not that it won't work, but it'll change the entire dynamics of the project. A couple of facts about the project. It's the only affordable housing project being discussed and put out front right now that pays city school taxes. Let me be very clear. Our city schools Some of us graduated from them. Some of us have had children that went to them. They're dying financially, but they're not dying for lack of management or lack of funding. Or they are dying of lack of funding, but it's because all of the government-based buildings and all of the projects that are even being proposed pull from the city school tax base. 75% of the property in their school district is tax exempt. And we're starving out a complete education system. When we purchased this piece of property from the school district, we guaranteed it with a deed restriction that we would not abate city school taxes. We are community members, once again, that have been here over 5 generations, that care about this community, that want to see it grow in a productive manner. It has the largest immediate impact, and I know that this body has voted on an RFP. The fact of the matter is that RFP will directly compete with this project that we have spent multiple hours and private funding to produce. To move forward on the KHC tax incentives, we're looking at another $100,000+ of investment from the private industry. We can't lose the opportunity to have correct federal housing. This will be the largest built living residential apartment complex in the city school district in decades. And it would be one that is not going to take away, but add not only to their population, which is needed, but added to the most needed thing they have, which is funding. I'd be glad to answer any questions. I'm passionate about this. I'm passionate about it because we care. We care. When the problems came in front of this entire community, we cared about what was going on. We cared about solving a problem, solving for X. We have followed the right path. We have been to the Frankfurt Housing Committee. We have met with leaders. We want to be part of the solution, not part of the problem. But we also can't afford to fight the public or the government sector and lose out on the opportunity. We just can't. So I'm open to any questions.
Can you explain so everybody understand how the RFP that was put out by this body would affect this? What is the?
KHC only,
Kentucky Housing Corporation.
Kentucky Housing Corporation, excuse me, only generally grants one grant per district, per congressional district per cycle. And if we're all competing for the same pocket of money, we're going to have more projects than we have. And guys, let's face it. We could use all 3 of them. They could all 3 start right now. Fact of the matter is, we got to fund them.
Well, and then let me say, so we have talked to KHC, we have a meeting next week, and so I think one of the things that's working with us, and I've talked to tomorrow. Oh, it's tomorrow? No, it's tomorrow. Thank you. So we have a meeting tomorrow with KHC, and because we are the #1 county that is behind on housing out of the whole state, it's been done before where they approve more than one project. Lexington, Louisville, they've got multiple projects per year. So the meeting tomorrow is going to be to really talk about this project, which this is, first I've seen the actual plans and this stuff. This one, the one we put out, and then I think the city put one out, but we didn't think they were going to put it out, and I think they did. So it's an opportunity. We're going to sit down with KHC to really see what's feasible and what's not. I do appreciate you really hitting on, and that is interesting that you will be paying the school tax. To me, that's a big deal. That could be a game changer for the independent school system.
That's been known from day one
Yeah.
when we started this project. We put it in front of the Frankfurt Housing Coalition. We've been in front of Envision Frankfurt. We've got their approval. We got letter of recommendations from the city schools. We have really worked hard to create a solution, not be part of the problem.
Squire Westman, do you have your hand up?
Yeah, Jeff, maybe let's go into it just a little bit more. Kentucky Housing Corporation grants low-income housing tax credits,
That's
which
correct.
is the gold bearer, standard bearer for developments of this type all across the state and nation. It's either a 6% or a 9%, and typically they're only funding one project per community, as you've said. And, you know, I asked when our RFP came up last meeting, somewhat out of the blue, whether we would be competing with anybody, and I was assured that we weren't, because all of this had been worked out and there was a plan for everybody to apply. But it's not sounding like that's the case, unfortunately. So I'm really concerned about the scale and size of the projects, and I guess my commentary here would be that we need to get everybody in the room together, and we need a single scattered site project, in my opinion. We have some potential for other land. The city, I got a call from a couple of city members who were rather irate that we have not had the communication that we need regarding our RFP when there's been a multi-year process to put out the Stedman Lane property that the city owns for exactly this type of project too. So I don't know how we get there, but I think we got a very short time window or period of time here to get everybody on the same page and figure out who's going to be the most successful at applying for that application. And if we need to rescind our RFP, I was very hesitant to approve that just because I was concerned that the communication had not happened. I think that's going to be important then to go forward. So we need some housing immediately, and we don't need to be 3 different silos or more. I know there are other entities that are at play too, that are all competing with one another, because none of us are going to get anything in the end. So.
And I think that's the reason for the meeting tomorrow. So at the end of the meeting tomorrow, we're going to know pretty much what direction they want us to go. And you are correct. I mean, if this has a lot more units and it's better than what we have, then, you know, we might just decline the RFPs and, you know, no harm, no foul. And so I think the meeting tomorrow is going to be pivotal to see what direction we go with all these projects.
Yeah.
Yep.
I just think with the whatever cause of communication base there is, I just feel like this entire court needed to know that we have worked hard, and we have worked extremely hard and diligently to find a solution to the problem. We're here to help. We're not here to fight.
Yeah.
So
We need to do what's best for our community.
and this, in our opinion, of course, in everybody's opinion, their project is the best. But there is one last thing. This project can have people living in it by spring of 2027. We're the only ones that can provide that. We've got 2 advantages. Number 1, we have more units. Number 2, we're actually paying city school taxes and being part of the community. And number 3, we can get it done. Thank you.
Thank you, Jeff. I appreciate you coming this morning. All righty, next I believe is Mr. Duke Wilburn, our road super. How you doing, sir?
Doing well, how are y'all?
Doing good, thank you.
Just wanted to update the court on what the road crew's been doing the last couple of weeks. Got our mowing crew out. I think they just finished up the east side yesterday. I believe they're out in Nineveh Road today, starting in that area. Started mowing on the Ducker's property, bush hogging on it. Wrapped up our spraying for the spring last week, and then still helping Republic with the dumpsters. It's calmed down a whole lot, but we're still getting quite a bit. It seems like on the weekends more now, but and then we got a patching crew out whenever we can get the asphalt. So then we've got a crew out Sulphur Lick and have had for a couple weeks now. And I think Andrew might have some photos. We had from the February flood, we had a road slide out there that was pretty bad, and we went in and fixed it, dug it out and had it fixed back in March, thought we had it fixed. And the embankment kept sliding towards the creek, and you can see our new blacktop, it just kept, and it got worse day by day. That was the original slide from back in February, from the heavy rains and flooding we had. So what we wind up having to do is emergency contract with a company called GSI, and they come in and done what's called soil nails to stabilize the bank. They finished up Monday, and that's the finished product there. It's a pretty expensive fix, but it was what had to be done, or we was gonna lose our road, so. We got a crew out there today just putting up some delineator signs and stuff there where it had to be dug out to repair it. That's about a 9-foot wall there.
I was gonna ask, is there any plans for guardrail or anything up down through there, just to?
Well, we thought about guardrail, but the majority of that road, it's got rail and cribbing, and pretty much, it's not the same fix.
It's fell off?
It's still up, and we just used delineators, so we're hoping we can get by with that. Seemed like it's worked well for several years. That entire road
Oh, yeah, I know.
just about runs beside a creek, so,
Yeah, it's a pretty good drop.
All right, what questions do we have for Dukes? Duke, I just want to say again, thanks for all your guys to continue, especially those dumpsters. I know it's been a lot keeping up with Republic and everything, but I think that new machine's really helped us being able to kind of manage those. And from what I'm hearing, us compared to some others are doing a very, very, very good job. So we always appreciate you all being part of the team. That's the end of this.
I did, I want to ask a question about the mowing and duckers. How many hours each mowing does that require from you all?
the best I can recall, Richard, from last year, seemed like to me it took us, we got one mower to use. Our other one's on the roadside mowing, so it takes a couple of weeks of mowing,
So you're talking about 80 hours to cover that?
pretty much.
How many times you cutting it a year?
3 or 4?
Normally twice.
Yeah, not much.
So you're talking about 160 hours of manpower plus equipment
That's
to
correct.
get that cut?
Yep.
Is there a value you put on that? I mean, that's hard to determine, but just a thought, we might want to contract that out. Looked to me like we got equipment and people tied up for 4 weeks, a month, a year. I don't know how many people, is that one person, I guess, one
Yeah.
person, one tractor, and one mower?
That's correct.
How big a mower is it?
It's I believe it's 10 foot.
10 foot? Well, that's a pretty good clip. Anyway, I think we need to look at doing a contract with that because we're absolutely tying up people that need to be somewhere else during the summer, and we don't have to cut it in the winter.
Right.
Thought.
It's a good thought. Anything else for Duke? Duke, as always, we appreciate you and your team.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Sure.
Alrighty, next is judge's report. Let's see how we do here. May 1st, I had a FEMA meeting. FEMA's been great. The one thing I've learned though, there's a lot of, it's like 5 different agencies here and they don't really do the best of talking to each other. So literally I've had meetings with a little bit of everybody and I still haven't figured out who does what, but we're appreciative that they're here. The second, I went with Penny Peevler and Logan Thomas to Cummings visit right there on, we all know, across from the Lakeview Park. It's an amazing place. They basically do all the air ride suspensions for semi-tractor trailers. So that was great. We had a 2.5 hour visit. And they're, what I really appreciate that company is they're trying to give back. They work with the food pantry at lunch and things like that. So very good people to be part of our team here in our community. On the 5th, we had our town hall meeting there. Some of you all were there. There's a lot of people there, standing room only, basically. The whole other side of the room was full too. It was good, the mayor and I kind of ran it and we had our planning and zoning staff there. We had electrical inspector, city had some of their people there. And it was an opportunity just for the community to ask questions and have a conversation about what's going on post-disaster. So we plan on doing that again, and hopefully in the next week or two, we'll schedule another one. On the 6th, I went to a lunch at Commerce Lexington. Speaker Osborne and Stivers were there talking about just kind of where we are with this year in politics and budgeting and things like that. So it was a good luncheon. You can always learn stuff there. On the 9th, we had a kind of I'm gonna call it a pre-bid meeting. I pulled our planning and zoning together with all of our inspectors, electrical inspectors. Tierney's getting ready to put another 2 buildings up out there on Duncan Road. So just kind of had a conversation to make sure that project goes as smooth as possible. So I think planning's important. We did it last time and it went very well. So Mr. Tierney was happy with the way it went. So I just thought we would do it again for these next 2 buildings, trying to just get the communication going. On the 8th, if Jeff was still here, I want to thank him and Duke. I know Duke had to drive FEMA around, but they threw an amazing appreciation lunch for Franklin County employees. And I think somebody counted, there was over 120 of our employees were able to be there. And that's at a 2:30-ish. So obviously people were working different shift, but we had representations from everybody. Sheriff, fire, jail, road, downtown, everybody was there, and it was really a good opportunity for everybody to conversate with each other, and it was good. So a lot of you all were there. Can't thank Duke and Jeff enough for putting that on for the employees, so well done there. On the 9th, I don't know if Andrea has any pictures of this, my wife Andrea and I went out to the sculpture park. Actually, they had an exhibit with Linda Bruckheimer. A lot of people know her husband because he's a famous director, so he actually came with her. It was a very nice evening, showcase her artwork that's on the side of the barn. They're now at the sculpture park, so they're doing some big things out there. They had a very, very good crowd out there from not just Franklin, but a lot in Lexington and Louisville, so a lot of art people were there. So on the 12th, I've had a lot of courthouse meetings. With FEMA, with our third party there, with Aaron, with Max, with Jack, with a little bit of everybody. So trying to figure out how they get back in the building. I know right now the judges are scattered all over. They're holding court, not just at the jail gymnasium, but they're actually off C. Michael Davenport out there. We have Judge Shepard's using an office next door. They're kind of scattered everywhere. So they're still thinking it's going to be at least a couple months before they get the electric back on alone. I think once they do that, hopefully they can at least start using the courtrooms there, but then we still have the whole rebuild. So there's a lot of questions as far as who's going to pay for what, how it gets paid for, things like that. So we're trying to figure that out literally on a daily basis. But it's been good communication between AOC and us, so that's good. And then on the 10th, can't say enough good things about the birthday celebration / fundraiser that we did for the relief fund. Marty, our electrical inspector, came to us a while back. Sonny, I'm sorry, thank you. Sonny, and he's big in the cornhole, so they ended up using the whole area in that building there for the farm pavilion to do a huge cornhole tournament. They were literally there from like noon to 7, probably. 30-some teams were there. Look at those two up there. They just couldn't stay off that stage. They jumped right to it. So there's Sherry and Jack up there singing with the second band. So, but it was a great night. Couldn't ask for better weather. Food vendors, beer, bourbon. It was a little bit of everything. So it was a great evening, and even some members of the flood, took the night off to come out and just kind of celebrate with neighbors and just kind of decompress a little bit. There's a picture of some of our food vendors there. Sherry, while he's flipping through those, I know you had a lot to do with this too. We all worked hard on it. Anything you want to add?
Well, it's a great time to show appreciation and talk about those who gave so much. So absolutely at the top of the list was Charlie Lewis and the Lakeview Park staff.
Yeah.
That park just shone beautifully that night. So can't ever do enough to thank them enough. The biggest thanks of all goes to the public for not only showing up, but a lot of the folks who were impacted by the flood who actually came out to the event that night. Like you said, just to take a night off and to decompress a little bit. I can't thank the Department of Public Works at the city enough for bringing the stage, and they sat there all day to make sure that there were no failures with the hydraulic lifts or anything like that. So that crew was Ryan Adams, Brandon Lohman, Jared Sutherland, David Devers, and Brad Parker. They were phenomenal. We had a green room that was provided, the food was provided for the musicians by Mommy Manchitas and More Sweets and Catering. Then we had Nick Blanford, who did the sound and lights and did a phenomenal job, had a great crew out there. ServPro provided the funds so that we could pay for the band. And so that didn't come out of any of the proceeds that we took care of there. Corntucky Cornhole, like you mentioned, they gave us $2,000 for this event because of what they brought in that day. So it was wonderful that they held this tournament, and the proceeds from the tournament went to helping the flood victims. So not only did they put a lot of effort in that, they gave from their hearts, and that's huge. Can't thank the Sheriff's Department, the Fire Department, Emergency Management, the Road Department for all the things that they did, not only to make the park look great, but being on site that day to help with the event. Bill May and the group of musicians that he pulled together from the four corners of every place coming and going. A lot of them actually live in Kentucky, and a lot of them we kind of were in the circle together, and it was great to see them and get together with them. The vendors who were there, all of them are giving a portion of their proceeds to this flood relief benefit. So it's phenomenal that, again, they've opened their hearts and their wallets to give back. You know, we had Chris Rooks, Jason Miller, April Clem. They walked around through the crowd with buckets, picking up donations for people, which was wonderful. FEMA was actually on site that night. I think Squire Wisman got to talk to them a little bit. Some of the rest of us made a point of spending some time with them. Can't thank Greg Fry enough for getting out and hanging the banners, taking care of that, and Andrew Tippett for coming up with the graphic because it looked phenomenal. So a lot of people, takes a lot of hands to put these things on.
I want to add one, and I appreciate you keeping track of all those because I couldn't have done as good a job as that. But the county schools donated their bathroom facility.
And
up there.
overflow parking.
Exactly, and overflow parking. So just, that was one thing when you were sitting there giving all those, I'm like, I feel like we're forgetting somebody. And I'm sure we probably did. But to everybody out there that came, I hope you had a good time. To everyone who put it on, thank you. And again, thank you to Bill May for bringing all his people up here. And it was a great night. So already. And then the one thing I skipped over and forgot, but everyone knows about, was Derby. We had the Derby celebration downtown. Nasty weather really kind of put a damper on everything, but they still got out there and had fun and did their little trifecta that they do, so it was good. And then I also want to thank KYT because they did a really good story the night of the about flood victims. They came to the concert and stayed for an hour or two and did some interviewing, so I appreciate them being involved in our community in addition to the plant board that was there. So already with that, we're going to keep moving. Alrighty, any questions on the minutes from a regular meeting of April 30th, 2025? Alrighty, seeing none, I believe the sheriff's here next. Good morning, sir. How are you doing?
Good. I'm not asking for any money, so it should go smooth. The first thing we have is our additional excess fees. It's $52 and a penny. That was actually interest that dropped in our account after we reconciled it, so that check just went to Amy from the 24 account. And then we have on here, I think there's 12 or 13 cars we're looking to trade or sell, and try to cycle out like we always do.
So just curious, while they're all looking at all this, with the vehicles, so obviously in this year's budget, the fiscal court has provided hopefully enough to get 3.
Right.
So are you planning on buying some more because you're surplus in 13? So what does that look like?
We will, with these trades, we'll be able to get different, additional vehicles to cycle out some that's out of the powertrain warranty. But the 3 that we talked about from Ford, that deal is what it is.
Right.
This will be just something we do on our own in-house.
Okay. Questions for the sheriff on either of these agenda items? All
I
right.
think I can run.
Look at big smile.
Really, see,
Come on, Chief.
Chief Deputy.
Yeah. He's running. Look at him.
If I could add one thing.
Please do.
On behalf of the Sheriff's Office, Chris Quire, and the rest of the staff, we just wanted to say thank you to the court and to the public for all that you guys done and the support we received during the flood. Every single day, there was food there waiting for our deputies to eat. So they were fed well, they were taken good care of, our deputies and our staff, and we just wanted you guys to know how much we really appreciate your support and what you guys done for us during that tough time. So that's all we had. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you. Yeah, appreciate everything your team does too. Thank you, thank you. All righty, and then Duke, I guess you're back up, buddy.
We're just asking for approval for the court's approval to advertise for sealed bids for our concrete, culvert pipe, same thing we do every year. Yeah, stone, asphalt.
Any questions for Duke on this agenda item?
Yes.
Yeah, go ahead, Squire Tanner.
The fuel tanks, are they, when they supposed to be delivered?
Next
Remind
month.
me again.
Next month, sometime in June.
So we're not gonna bid fuel at that time?
Well, our thoughts were, we probably need to get those and get them set up and then do that. But if you guys want
Do
us
you
to
have a hard
add,
date or no?
I'm sorry,
Do you have a hard date?
we don't. No, they just said June. So,
Yeah,
They're
Squire
building the
Tanner's
tanks
point.
right now, so.
Probably, yeah, we probably need to go ahead and get that on the next agenda. I'm fine with going ahead, because that's gonna be
Maybe have
here
it.
before you know it.
Maybe
Right.
have a better time.
my only thought was that, if we don't have our tanks set up and we do that, then, we only got a 1,000-gallon tank right now. Whoever gets the bid, I don't know if they'd come.
Right, but we could put a start date of July 1 or something,
Okay, yeah.
So, just a thought. Maybe when you talk to that company, I'd probably feel better if we had a hard date when they're gonna be here,
Right.
and then try to do something closer, then we
Okay.
could put that, the date, start date, once we know when the delivery date is, add a week or whatever it's gonna take to install them, and we'll be pretty close.
Okay.
So can that be added to this and just put a continuous date? It can't be added?
No, we'll have to do it separately.
Okay.
Yeah. All
Sounds
right,
good.
Duke, thank you. All right, and next I believe Ally is back with us.
All right, what I have here is a request for authorization to apply for the 2025-2026 waste tire grant. This is a dumpster we get every year that we keep at road department property. So any waste tires that they collect during litter pickup, it goes in here. Rumpke services it for tire recycling. So this is a tire recycling container. We get $4,000 every year for it. And I'm about to have the one from last year serviced in a few weeks, and it'll be replaced with a new one via this grant.
Squire, Sebastian.
Thank you, Judge. Again, thank you so much for being here to kind of explain a lot of these funding opportunities.
Sure.
Is there, in this grant, did we write anything in for advertisement? And the only reason, clearly you know why I'm asking now.
Yes, I see why you're asking. This is just for disposal costs.
Okay,
This is-
so no. Okay,
And this is also not for public use. The road department just finds so many tires
Or we bring
throughout the
them.
year.
that we find, I find them all over.
That was-
I'm always hauling tires down there.
I've got 6 right now. I picked up off of Stedentown yesterday.
Just-
Wow.
It's so
Is
frustrating.
there-
That's because you thought you could use them on one of your trailers.
Well, I looked at them first. I looked at
Wrong
them.
size.
Yeah, they were.
Don't
But,
tell everything
so
you
there's a
know.
dumpster available, like,
At the road department.
okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
at the road
All right.
department.
I
Yeah.
just want to make sure.
Yeah.
Thank you guys for keeping an eye out for tires. But yeah, it's just to clarify, residential tire collection, it's every 3 years through the state program.
But they're still eligible, like, let's say if it's in Anderson County, they can still go there with their tires as long as they have their Kentucky identification, correct? So
Any
anybody
resident-
watching, that's an easy thing to Google. There's usually right around us every year it takes a turn. So if people do have tires, they have the opportunity to drive, 30 minutes to still dispose of it properly.
Yeah,
Yep.
almost any given month, a county is doing a tire collection on a Saturday, and so any resident is welcome to go to any of those events. Might not be as convenient, but there are options for people while we wait for it to come back to Franklin County.
All righty, Ally, thank you.
Okay, thank you guys.
Alrighty, next we have the agreement with the Expo, and I believe, Pat Talley, you gonna get up and say any words? I'm assuming that's why you're here.
Just these told me to show up in case everyone's out of town. but-
Okay, it's all good. So, just to refresh everybody's memory, we went through this, process. Expo was going to be at the park this year, at Lakeview Park, but because of timing, they couldn't book the, carnival in enough time, so they've decided, I believe, to wait till next year. So I think with some minor adjustments on both ends of from our county attorney and from the, Expo board, they made some changes. And that's what's before us. Squire Sebastian.
So, Judge, the dates on this are still the dates for 2025. But we've done that just to modify the agreement.
Yeah.
So that in memoriam going forward, we'll have the kind of agreement in whole.
Yeah.
I guess that's the thought, right?
Yeah, absolutely, because next year we'll just change the dates on it, and that's what will come before the court. So this is just, pretty much it's all the other things we're looking at, to good. Just kind of and then to let you all know, the fair will probably be on next agenda. They did ask, we knew of one change, but we think there's another couple, that's why we pulled that one. But it's gonna basically be identical as this, except the one big change for theirs will be time. They wanted, like 6 months in case we had to cancel them because they have to book the festival. So that's the biggest thing. But that should be on the next agenda.
I'm sure y'all correct it when you get to it, but you still got 2024 on the signature page.
Okay. Kim, you wanna make note of that?
I'll fix it.
Yeah. All right.
Judge.
Oh, go ahead, Squire Wisdom.
Judge, I received a few phone calls after we did this last time, and I think I expressed it last time, but I still want to express concern that I feel like there probably needs to be some more communication with the Fair Board specifically, and I'm concerned still about the, let's say, almost redundancy of two events back-to-back, month-to-month, that offer some similar activities that might render the first one may be more popular and the second one be deemed a little redundant by the community. So I'm not sure how to manage that, but if the fair is coming before us next time, maybe we can have this conversation simultaneously. Would it hurt to put this off until then so everybody's concerns can be addressed all together?
Well, I mean, I don't, because the expo's not even gonna happen this year, so really, we're just kind of looking at this, to get it on the books as far as, so that the next year, Kim can send it out, and everyone will be happy with what it looks like, so. But conversations can be had. I have talked to, some people on the expo board, some people on the fair board. I think there needs to be a conversation between the two of them. I think it's exciting that we have almost too many things going on right now, so,
And then a general concern that came about is, I thought maybe, has anybody ran past DLG, and with that conservation easement that we have on that property, I'm concerned about contractual uses of it. It was one thing for the fair board that it was purchased for, but I thought that came into mind that we really should probably double check that.
what do you mean?
The conditional
Property was
uses
bought
about the,
by just general funds.
those land, air, water conservation funds and the
When we
80s or
researched
whatever.
it, it was
with
bought, when Bob Arnold bought it, it was out of their general funds.
Well, there was
The only
a
easement
grant
there
at some
is
point.
from the walking track, we got some grant money for that, and I think, Splash Pad was one, and maybe the skate park. Can't remember if that was one of them, not, that was.
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, those were the three, right?
I know the splash pad.
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah, so,
Well, I've asked about those funds a few times, and was aware that it was bought with some other funding, so still wouldn't hurt to check that we're not doing anything that,
Well, it was upgraded with other funding. The land was still there.
okay.
The
Yeah.
land has always been purchased.
We researched that a while back.
Let's be clear on,
Yeah.
we've not added to the footprint of Lakeview Park. The 126 acres were all bought with general fund. The park has been improved in areas with some
Right.
additional funding. The skate park is an improvement. It was not an amenity that was purchased with the park.
Right.
Splash pad is an amenity that was added to the park, as well as the walking track.
Yep.
So let's be clear on our terminology. Thank you.
And this lease accepts out the areas that are discussed.
All of those
Such
areas
being
are in it.
the
in
splash
that- in the
pad,
First clause.
any of those things.
Yep.
That's correct.
It is accepted out.
Alrighty. Well, Pat, I appreciate you being here. It's good to see you. You can hang
Thanks
out.
again.
More than welcome to hang out.
I've never been to one, so I'm just taking it all in.
Really? Yeah. Amy, I believe our treasurer's next. How you doing today, Amy?
Great. So my first agenda item is the treasurer's report, and I'd like to report for the 10 months ending April 30th. Receipts, 33 million, expenditures, 31.6 million. Adding in the fund balance of 29.9 gives us a fund balance of 31.2. I've also provided the revenues and expenses as of May 14th. And if I can point out a few things on that, we've had a busy month, and I've been super excited. And I should say I've not been as busy as Summer and Connie and Michelle. But our property taxes, we've met budget for property taxes, payroll tax, as well as the insurance premium tax. And I'd also like to point out that DLG requested that we change the fund code for opioid. So page 4 of your revenue. We are currently using Fund 78. Moving forward, July 1st, we'll be using Fund 74.
Is
So,
that just across the board?
yeah, they wanted to have the same fund for all
Across the board,
counties so that they could monitor that
Got it.
a little bit
Thank you.
better. So you'll see this fiscal year, it's all zeros, the budget, and moving forward, it'll be Fund 74.
Amy, can I ask a question? So when you say as of those revenues, as of this month or today, so that's for the rest of this year. So
Yes.
anything extra, I'm not gonna
Yes.
say it's icing on the cake, but it's in
Yes.
black,
Yes,
which is a great thing. So
it is a great
thank you. I
thing.
just want to make
Yes.
sure I heard that right and everybody else is hearing that right. So, and I appreciate all of our department heads being fiscally responsible as long as this court here is too. So, doing a great job.
The next agenda item is the second reading of Budget Amendment Number 3, and I'll just go over the financial impact. It increases the budget by $359,000 and totals $56.4 million. If we exclude capital expenses and federal projects, it increases it by $109,000 and totals $38 million. And this budget amendment has gone through the process of DLG reviewing it, and it's to amend in grants, insurance proceeds, and the funds from the surplus auction.
All right, thank you.
Can I ask a question on the report?
Yeah, go ahead.
I should have asked Duke, but I did not. But I didn't think about it, basically. But he talked about the expense of the repair on
Salt Lake.
Salt Lake Road, and how expensive that was. Did that come out of reserve or out of the road fund?
The road fund.
So is that gonna cripple that fund?
At this point, I think there's adequate money in that budget line item.
To get to the rest of the year?
So, and I'm gonna go ahead and say, so we've had some conversations, There's other roads in our community that are probably pretty close to the same issue. Duke came to us and said, hey, what if we just start fixing them ourselves? Because even down on Glens Creek, they're literally just driving, old railroad track and stuff like that. So he said they have the expertise to do it. We've met with our FEMA person. There's a very good chance that we'll be able to buy the equipment to start doing road repairs ourselves and get it reimbursed.
That'd be
So
huge.
we're working on that now because I know there's other roads out there. But just like that emergency deal, I think it was like $110,000 or something to fix what you all saw today. So, with knowing what else is out there in all the county issues, now we can't fix state roads obviously because I've had a lot of calls and comments on state roads.
Right.
You gotta be very specific as far as what are county roads and what are state roads. And the state's doing a great job. They just, they don't react as fast as we can.
So we
So our intention is to hopefully start being able to do these road projects ourselves.
So we're gonna purchase a pile driver of
Yes.
some sort,
We're still
Drive
working
a
on
railroad
details. Yes, basically, yes. We're still working
track
on
down
the
in the
details.
ground.
Yep.
I mean, that's what they are, basically nails,
Yeah.
what you wanna call them.
Yep,
It's just
yep.
steel.
Sorry, Amy, I didn't mean to get
I
off
don't know
there,
how
but
much
I thought it was a
of it.
good opportunity to communicate with the
So
court.
should we check on what one of those costs? I mean, that's,
They're already taking care of all that. It's already in the process.
all right.
So once we get to a better point, then we'll come back to the court. But I just wanted, since you were talking about it, I thought it's exciting, honestly. So I just want to throw it out there. Sorry, Amy, I didn't mean to hijack your.
Yeah, I
Judge,
mean-
while you're on the topic, could I ask, any other conversations you've been having in my conversations with FEMA? There was some, and in their meeting that they came to us last time, there was some, information expressed that they could possibly be of assistance in mitigating long-standing flooding road issues, like out at Paul's Grove was the one I was talking to them about building new access ways off of an existing state highway rather than maintaining a county road in perpetuity.
Yeah. And that one
Is
was
that
up
ongoing?
last time in February, but they said it wasn't bad enough. I know it's dropped another foot, and that's one of the ones we're having conversations about. I think the problem right now with FEMA is because the president has not signed the public portion of the declaration. So right now, it's only to assist individuals. So even right now, even our payroll and things like that we've been paying for all this flood problems, dumpsters, all those things is on us right now. So
Yep.
I think that it's something we can talk to them about, Squire Wisman. It's just, we really gotta get that signature first before FEMA can say what they're gonna do and not do.
Just making that public.
Yeah,
notice.
yeah, no, it's all good. It's all good conversation, so. Okay, Amy, I promise I'm not gonna say anything else. Go ahead.
Okay. So the next agenda item, I'm happy and
Yeah.
relieved to have the first reading of budget for year 25 and 26. Just a brief summary. The budget is $64.247 million, excluding capital and federal projects. It's $42.845 million. Our balance, this is a balanced budget, pulling $6.421 million from reserves. Of that, $3.244 is for the Lakeview Phase 1 project. And this budget also has $2 million for bonding for that same project. It's a 3% mid-year pay increase for employees. I did make the changes from the last time we met, as well as I had a better number from PVA, so I increased the property tax revenue.
So Amy, just before I open this up to everybody, do you still feel good about our budget moving forward?
Yes.
Maybe a smile, a little smile.
That was sort of a.
Yeah. Squire Sebastian.
Hi. Please don't feel like you're gonna open your office door and there's a horse head sitting in there, because it sort of was like that. I'm leading you to water. My question is in regard to, I've lost it now with the horse
Sorry.
head gone.
Sorry, yeah, I don't know where you went with that one. but-
I don't know where I was going with it.
But while she's thinking about that, I do want to say, in all sincerity, from this seat, from the squires here, not putting words in our mouths, we appreciate everything you do on a day-to-day basis. It's not just you, it's Michelle, it's everything, it's the whole
Yeah.
staff. But I feel like this is a very good budget. We did a very good job this year communicating it, working through the committees, and Squire Sebastian, remember what she said.
I
Go,
got
just
it.
fire her. I don't want you to mess with her.
Yeah, it was the PBA question. Was that with the letter from the revenue cabinet, or was that?
It
his
hasn't
figure?
been
Has that-
returned from the revenue cabinet,
Okay.
but it is what PVA submitted to the state.
Okay,
The numbers that I had up until today were based on just conversation, but he provided the recap to me, and
Okay.
that's the number I'm working off of.
all right, thank you.
All right, Amy, next one.
And then the next agenda item goes along with the budget. When I submit the budget, I'll also submit the standing order. And this, we're asking DLG to allow us to pay these expenses that are listed here when we receive them. This is something we do every year, but I do want to point out I made some additions. The first one being Fund 7, the CDBG funds. We have to release that money as soon as we get it. We have so many days, and so I'm requesting from DLG to allow us to go ahead and do that so that we can meet that requirement. And you'll also see 77, Fund 77 are the new expense accounts for the transient room that will go into effect July 1st.
And then I just want to say something, this has reminded me, so we are having conversations with AOC because, currently we're paying rent for our county attorney's office and things like that, but because the court, the court building is not usable right now, so we're figuring all that out. So just in case anybody was wondering with what we're paying, what they're paying us, it's kind of, Max, you want to comment on that? Because we've had some conversations. I just want to make sure they were aware that we know.
Yes.
Your mic's on. Thank you.
So currently we pay 3 subleases to the courthouse, and I think it's just shy of $80,000 a year for
Yeah.
those 3 subleases. And we've had some discussions with AOC that during the period of time that the courthouse is shut down about non-payment of rent, I guess you would say, so that it'll be held in advance, and so we still have to work out all the terms of that, but that's the initial communication that we've received so far.
Thank you, Max. Squire Sebastian.
Thank you, Judge. Madam Treasurer, I'm assuming, are these things in addition to like blanket utilities that we know that we get every month?
Yes.
Because usually there's a standard list
If you look at the top of that,
where it says utilities,
payroll liabilities.
et cetera.
Yeah,
I
that,
just want to make sure everybody understands that those are basic things that we always cover.
yes, that's correct.
Is Kim, does anybody have questions for our clerk on any of the claims? I know she gave us a supplemental claim sheet too, just to make sure everybody.
I made one change on the detailed version of the road fund. The total doesn't match the agenda sheet, so I modified that to match the total. The total should be $427,495.18.
Can you, 427,
$495.18.
yep. So it's online.
Judge,
Oh, I'm sorry, Squire Wisman.
the supplemental bills that were given to us today, the Nick Blanford for the benefit, excuse me, is that being covered by our general funds, or is that an expectation that that will be refunded through?
No, that is the
donations or-
money, when we ask all the elected officials to donate money, and I think most of us did, that is what is covering that. So that $1,250 was put in from all the magistrates, myself, Jenny, Jack, Jeff, Max, everybody who put money in the fund. This is a donation.
Will Rhodes,
Yeah, Will Rhodes, yeah, a little bit of, I think everybody
most
did.
of the magistrates.
Yep, so,
May I
yeah, go ahead.
add one thing there, because when you and I were talking about that, I want to make sure that we shout out the State Journal and the Frankfurt Plain Board, because they did a lot to
Yeah.
promote our event.
Yeah.
And then the one thing that I didn't get to circle back on was the county officials and the judicial branch. You know, we had a couple
Oh,
of
that's
judges,
right.
Judge Wingate, Judge Shepard, you know, they
Judge
stepped
Mangin?
up. Judge Mangin stepped up to give some funds to ensure that no money was
Yep.
taken from the county and all proceeds went back to flood benefit,
Absolutely.
to the flood relief benefit.
Name the SEC.
All right.
Sheriff, is
Yeah.
his name, I don't want to leave anybody
I
out of
know
that.
we're missing people, I know. Alrighty, so I believe, lost my pen. That's where we are. All right, let's go to other business right now. Does anybody have any other business to talk about before we go to that?
I got one thing, I don't want, rather than change the agenda and make a motion to that, I maybe could get a consensus that the next meeting, that we could have some kind of RFP to propose to get somebody to contract a bush hog, mow duckers. Would that be possible, or would that be a consensus for the rest of the people, rather than make them trying to change the agenda?
What do y'all think?
Have it on the next court meeting?
Yeah. Just an RFP to put the bush hogging
Never hurts to
out.
request for a proposal, yeah.
No, and actually, I think we looked at that like a year or so ago, and I think we got a price, but I think this is just me going by memory. But because we didn't know what we were gonna do with the property at that time, and I think that's when the whole RFP was out for that housing development, things like that. So, no, I'm fine with that. If you all are good?
I'm supportive. I think it needs to be
Okay.
maintained to a better standard than what
Yeah.
we've been doing twice a year, is letting it grow up a significant amount, and those people are used to being able to walk, and I know a lot of them are still taking care of
Yep.
portions of the land behind their properties by mowing it themselves.
Good, we're good.
It's
We'll
not
do it.
public owned land.
Any
should be accessible.
other business? All righty, we're gonna jump on into voting session. Just keep moving. All righty, clerk, please call roll.
Squire Sebastian,
Here,
Squire Blackburn,
Present.
Squire Dykus, Squire Harrod,
Here.
Squire Tanner,
Here.
Squire Wisman,
Present.
Judge Miller.
Present, thank you, clerk. Authorization for approval of minutes from the regular meeting of April 30th, 2025.
so moved.
Second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Motion passes.
Nay, Judge, just for the reasons I always state.
Okay. Authorization to receive sheriff's additional 2024 excess fees.
So moved. Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Motion passes. Authorization to approve sheriff's surplus of vehicles for trade-in vehicles or gov deals.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Motion passes. Authorization to advertise for sealed bids for the road department materials.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor say aye. All those
Aye.
opposed say nay. Motion passes. Authorization to approve a resolution authorizing the following of an application for 2025-2026 waste tire grant program with the Kentucky Department of Environmental Protection, Division of Waste Management, and authorizing the county judge executive to execute all documents pertaining to this grant.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Motion passes. Authorization to approve the agreement between Franklin County Fiscal Court and the Capitol Expo Festival.
Judge, could I ask that we just table this till the next meeting like I asked? I don't see what that's gonna hurt since it's a whole year away, and I'd like to hear from the Fair Board before we do that, since you already said that they're coming before us next meeting.
Anyone else want to table this, or do you want to vote on it?
What does tabling do? Other than, not
Push it
allowing us to
back.
vote on it today, other than that.
We're gonna have
And the
an
agreement's
identical
the same.
contract effectively coming before us for that. That you said there's gonna be some changes with that one too. I would just like to put eyes that we're being consistent, and, you know, that everyone has a chance to comment. Public business again, that, like I said, I've got some phone calls with some concerns. I wanna make sure we're thorough, and I can answer all those, at least as one elected official.
But then don't forget, so next year when they come to us, it'll basically come back in front of us again.
Right.
This is just a placeholder
Right.
kind of. So, anybody else want to table it? Do you want to vote on it?
I think there's a motion to table, so I don't know. I think technically, I think that's what we have. You made a motion to table, so I don't.
So we need a
That's for
second.
lack of a second.
Is there a second to table? All right, we're going to go ahead and vote then. Authorization to approve the agreement between Franklin County Fiscal Court and the Capitol Expo Festival.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay.
Judge, I'm gonna vote nay. I just think that's a little ridiculous and redundant if it's a whole year off that we approve something now that we can't have some commentary period on, but thank you.
Authorization to receive treasurer's report.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Motion passes. Second reading approval of an amendment number 3 to ordinance number 4-2024 relating to budget for fiscal year 2024-2025.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Motion passes. First reading of an ordinance relating to the budget for fiscal year
Judge,
20.
just clarification there. You're moving very fast. We all have to physically say aye or nay. I didn't get to even say there on that last one, so.
Okay.
And I only heard Square Sebastian's voice actually, so.
I'm hearing it all the time. I hear me, and I hear about 2 other people.
Yeah.
So I really do think that we
Okay,
all
do you
need
want
to
to go back
speak
to that
up.
last
Yeah.
one, Squire Wisman? What was your vote?
Fair enough.
Aye, yeah. But I
Okay.
just wanted to say, because that one seemed to be really quickly.
First reading of an ordinance related to the budget for fiscal year 2025-2026. Aye. Vote will be taken at a later date. Authorization to approve annual standing order pre-approving certain recurrent expenses.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Motion passes.
I agree with you, all to speak up.
Payment of claims as amended. Is there a motion to deny any claim? No motion was made. Let the record reflect claims are to be paid. Alrighty, so now we are going to, so we have a road trip after this, so before we go into recess, if there's anybody here that wants to go, it's open. You all are more than welcome to come with us. We have plenty of room, and we'll be going on our spring road trip to look at especially some of the areas that were affected by this flood. So at this time, we are going to take a recess until 12 o'clock. At 12 o'clock, the bus will be here, and when we leave here, we will reconvene for our next portion of this meeting. So we are in recess. Thank you.
Thank you.